Alright, how you doing? My name's Todd. I am the coffee guru here at Klatch Coffee, and show you guys a little bit about some of the manual brewing methods that we use and we have available and that we love. So to get started, kind of just point out what we have here and what's going on. I'll start down here at this end. This is called a Fretta. This is an iced coffee maker. Fantastic during the summertime. Just a great, easy way to make iced coffee by the cup at home. It tastes fantastic. This one's a Clever. Love this machine. We use this sucker at home pretty much on a daily basis. It's going to be got some good infusion going on, so very similar to the French press in that way. But at the end, you go set it on your cup, and that's when it does a little pour down, very similar to the V60 that we will get into here. The Chemex, probably my second favorite version, to be honest. I use this at home when I'm brewing for myself and my wife when I want to do 2 cups at a time, and it's great for that way. As you can see, it's got a very similar 60-degree here going on like the V60, and the ability to really pour down. It's got your spout that lets the air out to give some accessibility for that coffee to brew. And then I have 2 pour-over brew methods here. We have what I've pointed out here a couple times now is the V60. V60 is a single hole, nice big hole right here in the bottom. With that one, you have to have a little more precision with your pour, a little more focus and time spent as a barista making that drink. Then you have the B house. The B house here, it's got 2 little holes in the bottom, so you can see the real difference there. That gives a little more control to the B house itself. It takes a little control away from you. We use these in our stores on a daily basis. I use this at home on occasion, but what I like about it is that it's a great kind of first step into pour over. Your first opportunity to ever really try pour over, and it gets a consistently good cup of coffee every single time. Once you've gotten it dialed in, you can repeat that same cup over and over again, which is great for the home brewer in you. So I'm going to start off. Let's start off with let's brew a Clever. I'm going to be brewing today. This is our Panama Carmen Estate. Fantastic coffee. 91 points from Coffee Review. It's a direct trade coffee that we have. It's a little bit sweet. It's got some toasted nut flavors in there. And it offers some great milk chocolate. So great cup of coffee. Now when I do the Clever at home, I weigh out 24 grams of coffee. Now with this coffee, I go a little, so when you're looking at your different coarseness, I do kind of a sea salt coarseness, if you will, in your grind. Really kind of looking at the different levels of your grind is important for your flow through and for your pour down of the coffee. Number 4 filter for the Clever. And notice that this one doesn't quite go to a full point. We'll flatten the bottom. That was the number 2 stuck in the number 4 box. There's number 4. See how it fills to the top. Alright. We're going to take our hot water just off boil. So you want to be brewing at around 205 degrees for that. So we take our hot water, pour in. First I'm pre-wetting the filter. This not only gets rid of a lot of that paper taste that's happening right there, but also it's preheating my entire Clever vessel. Again, temperature consistency is very important as we go through brewing it. So we go ahead, and what I'm doing now is doing the drawdown of just the water that's in there. This is actually going to preheat my mug as well, so we can get some nice temperature consistency going all over. adding just about 50 to 60 grams, so about 2 ounces of water. And what's happening now is I'm letting the coffee what we call bloom. And what that basically means is I'm allowing all the gases to release within the coffee, leaving behind the great flavors. This process can take anywhere from 30 seconds or more. I usually stop at about 30 seconds when I'm doing the clever, either way, but it's kind of once you stop seeing the movement, you know most of the gas is released. So here we're at 30 seconds, and I'm going to add hot water here, and I'm going to go all the way until I hit about 340 milliliters of water in total. So that's actually just about 340 it's about almost 13 ounces of water in total. Put my lid right back on top and let this keep the heat inside and let it brew. Now I'm going to go for about 2.5 minutes steep here. Notice, I don't do really much agitation going on other than what the pour does. And if you read online, you can read different stuff, and even the manual, it'll have you at some point in time give it some stirs, give it some mixing around. I allow that kind of just to happen when I pour, and that's it. So it's varied by your method, what you choose to do. I like to leave as little agitation in it as possible, and still I get a great cup of coffee coming out. So at about a minute and a half, like I said, I'm going to go about 2.5 minutes deep. After 2.5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and put it right inside my cup. So I'm going to get rid of the water that's in here. Alright, we're coming up here on 2.5 minutes. Once I kind of come up on the 2.5 minutes, just going to check. I like to take a nice smell. That smells really good. Take my clever, and here's the great part. Set it right on top of my mug, and it does its own little drawdown. I can take the lid off if I want to and watch it draw down. That's always fun. To see how the consistency comes, see how it lays as it's going through. I'm looking for just about a minute or so on my drawdown. I look for about a 3.5 minute total brew time when I'm brewing with the Clever Dripper. And that's kind of a personal preference of my own that I found just with all my playing around with. I've done 4 minutes, I've done 3.5. I find with a lot of with lighter roasted coffee, things you're going to find in specialty coffee especially, you're going to find that that 3.5 minutes is kind of a really good time frame for anything you're doing for a single cup. 3 minutes, 3.5, you'll find a lot of those kind of things. So we're coming up here, we're at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And water's getting towards the end there in 3.5 minutes. And the nice, great part about this, easy cleanup. Take a filter, pull it out, throw it away, give it a little rinse, you're done. Your coffee's ready to go. Now, when drinking coffee, you want to let this cool a little bit. Remember I was talking about, we used 205 degree water when we brewed this. We made sure everything was hot all the way through, so it stayed hot all the way through. But let's go ahead and let this cool a little bit. Let it get down to 175, 180 before you take your first sip. You're going to start to notice sweetness really starting to come out in that coffee. Continue to drink it, but let it drop a little bit, 150. Don't add any cream or sugar to it, and you'll really be able to bring out the true flavors, the sweetness, the caramel I was telling you about in this coffee. This coffee's got a little bit of toasted nut notes and some great milk chocolate finish. So enjoy the Panama Carmen Estate. So, like I was talking about, we have some great brewing methods. These are called pour-over brewing methods. And really the reason it's called pour-over is because you pour water over your coffee. Very simple, very easy. We have a couple different brewing methods you can get for pour-overs. These are basically little single cup brewing methods. You have your V60, probably one of the more popular ones in coffee houses these days is the V60. Single hole, but as you can see, it's a pretty good sized hole. I can fit my finger in there. Good sized hole right there. That's going to allow for a pretty fast drawdown. So with that, you got to go a little bit finer in your grind and pay attention to your pour a little bit more. You got to slow your pour as it's going down. You have these nice little notches on the side, if you want to call them that. Basically what's that doing is that's pushing your filter away from the wall, allowing for airflow to go through and allowing for really the cup to brew. You don't want it fully stuck against the wall. So you have these They go right around. You have 2 different spots for them. And kind of keeping your water and your liquid, everything right below the second set is a good indicator of a good flow for your coffee for a single cup. As you start to try and do more coffee, you'll see that you have the same thing with the Fretta. The Fretta's got the same kind of design going, but you notice the smaller notches that are happening there are a little bit higher up on the Fretta. The reason for that is with the Fretta, you're actually going to have more coffee than you do for the V60. Because you're brewing ice, you want it really brewing double strength in a sense, because it's going to brew over ice, it's going to drip down, and it's going to dilute once it kind of comes in contact with the ice. Then you have your bee house. Now the thing about the bee house is 2 little holes, and they are little tiny holes right there. What that does is it gives more control to the flow. There only so much water can get through the holes at a time, and it allows for a little bit of an even extraction because of the separation of the 2 holes. You can see it's more of a straight, it's not circular like the V60, it's flatter on each side. So it pushes the coffee down, but the 2 holes gives a little bit more of an even extraction coming from each side, and allows for that. So why do we use one over the other? It's personal preferences where it comes down to. We like the bee house because we feel that's the most consistent cup to cup. It's also consistent from barista to barista, and it's a little bit easier to use in a high volume, fast-paced cafe compared to a V60. V60 really pulls that barista away from anything else they're doing. They have to focus on that one cup for the entirety of brewing it. That's great. It tastes great. It makes an amazing cup of coffee. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it is more labor intensive. When you're looking for a little bit more efficient ways of getting still amazing cups of coffee, it's the reason we go with the bee house. But you have so many options. We even talked a little bit here about the Chemex. Chemex I find is great when you're starting to brew. You want more than 1 cup. I have a hard time personally getting as great of a single cup, 1 cup of coffee out of the Chemex as I do out of the Clever, the bee house, or the V60. I find that I get great cups of coffee out of the Chemex when I start going higher doses, somewhere around 48 grams of coffee, 710 milliliters of water, and that's just a perfect amount for me and my wife to split upon in the mornings. So there you have it. These are just some great ones. There are more out there. Remember, this is not the end-all be-all of manual brewing. You have things like AeroPress, great system of brewing single cups of coffee. You have Kalita Waves, another great single pour over, and those ones, I wish I could tell you more about. I haven't really fully experimented with Kalita Wave yet, but it's got 3 holes on the bottom in a triangular setting, and when I've had cups of coffee that other people have brewed on that, they've been phenomenal. So it's another great one to kind of play with and see. And the more you kind of brew with manual brewing, you'll find the ones that you really steer towards, things you really like, and what you can brew a great cup of coffee with.